Following the tragedy in Moore, public sentiment has grown for putting safe rooms or shelters in Oklahoma schools. 7 of the 10 children who died in the Moore tornado were students at Plaza Elementary. Briarwood Elementary School was also destroyed, but no one there died. Neither school had a safe room.
Briarwood and Plaza Towers Elementary Schools in Moore were in the direct path of the monster EF5 tornado. Many say it was a miracle no one was killed at Briarwood. The 7 children who died at Plaza Towers were all under the age of 10. The other students who survived were saved by their teachers.
We monitored the weather throughout the day, and when it was time to shelter, we did just that. A tornado's path is highly unpredictable, but with very little notice, we implemented our tornado shelter procedures at every school site.
I can tell you they did not think twice about giving those children first consideration at doing what they could to help those children, particularly at shielding them with their own bodies, literally. On behalf of Oklahomans, I thank them for that. They are heroes. Their valor cannot be overstated.
State Superintendent of Public Instruction Janet Barisi is one of many state leaders being asked by national media and thousands of Oklahoma citizens why all Oklahoma schools don't have safe rooms.
This is an issue that we're definitely going to be working on at developing strategies on our older buildings. You know, we have school buildings throughout the state that are over 50 years old and are WPA buildings. And so we need to work with communities and municipalities.
To me, it's insane that we do not have some kind of requirement in place for public facilities to have safe rooms. If we're going to require by law that kids are in schools, then we should require by law that there are some type of safe rooms and shelters for those kids to go in case of a storm.
State Representative Joe Dorman has a personal connection to the catastrophes at the Moore schools.
One of my cousins, his wife is a teacher at one of the schools that was hit in Moore, and she was one of those teachers that was covering up a child. I don't understand how we have not done something in the past. Unfortunately, it's out of sight, out of mind too many times.
Dorman is drumming up support for installing safe rooms at all schools.
What I have suggested is a $500 million bond issue that would split $400 million going towards school safety, school shelter programs, and then $100 million for private shelters for residences, apartment complexes, mobile home parks.
State Senator Tom Ivester is working on safe room proposals as well.
A requirement that any new school or any new addition to a school incorporate a plan for a safe room. So if you're adding on to a school and they've already got accommodations, fine, you meet the requirement. But if you're adding on to a school to incorporate into the plans a safe room. If it's a new school, incorporate them.
That is what was done at Tulsa's Robertson Elementary School in 2002. When construction of a new wing began, plans included a basement shelter. You feel pretty lucky then?
Yeah, very fortunate. Very fortunate. When you live in Tornado Alley, it's nice to have this here to make sure the kids are safe, and my grown-ups, my faculty and staff.
Principal Jessica Haight says 3 times a year, children assemble here for tornado and disaster drills. If the school were hit by a tornado and the school collapsed, there is a basement exit to the outside.
Does it give you a sense of security?
Absolutely. After what happened earlier this week, it was heavy on my heart, and I thought we would have been okay. We would not have had to worry about our babies. They would have been fine. They would have been safe, and parents would have known that.
Robertson is the only public school in the Tulsa district that has a safe room. The State Department of Education doesn't keep data on how many schools have them.
Very few schools that I have seen so far and visited with at this point have safe rooms.
Barisi says she knows lives have been saved in schools that have safe rooms.
I have a school district named Tushka down in southeastern Oklahoma. It was hit directly, the school was directly hit by a tornado 2 years ago. They had 2 safe rooms already there that they were using it for their early childhood center. Superintendent tells me that 300 individuals were saved that day.
Barisi says ensuring the safety of children from tornadoes while at school is going to take time.
There's not one answer to this. There are going to be multiple ones, and it will be specific to those sites. We look forward to working with individual school districts to come up with an answer for this. It's something that we're not going to leave alone.
Certainly, I would love to see shelters in every school, but I think every time we look at government to supply that, I think I'm not for that.
Representative Pat Ownby says funding for safe rooms shouldn't rest on the shoulders of state government. He believes the issue should be handled at the local school district level.
I personally believe that if the parents want a shelter built at their school, the schools will do it, because ultimately the parents are going to be the ones that fund it through bonding, like when we bond a football stadium. And Oklahoma doesn't seem to lack dollars to bond sports complexes. And I think certainly shelters would be something that every school would want to look at.
Using the online petition platform change.org, 35 petitions have been created asking Oklahoma leaders to provide safe rooms at all schools. More than 28,000 people have signed the petitions. 4 state legislators are forming a 501c3 organization to raise money to pay for storm shelters or safe rooms at Oklahoma schools. But for now, State Emergency Management Agency Director Albert Ashwood says funds simply aren't available.
You have limited amount of funds that are based on disasters you've had in the past that are used for mitigation measures. And when you have limited number of funds, then you set priorities on which schools that you do want to ask for. So it's not a matter of they were being left out for any reason. It was a matter they hadn't been brought forward yet.